A terrifying inferno in Tokyo after two planes collide on the runway. Tonight, hundreds race to escape the flames. The dramatic evacuation and what we know about the moments that led to the crash. A surge of sickness hits Canadian hospitals, already stretched to the limit.
This is the worst the healthcare system has been ever.
A frightening scene on a busy subway and the warnings it's triggering.
There have been battery-type fires all across this country.
This is The National with Erica Johnson.
Thanks for joining us. Adrian is away. Investigators in Japan are trying to determine how two planes at one of Tokyo's biggest airports ended up on a deadly collision course on the runway. This is the terrifying moment a passenger jet burst into flames after colliding with a smaller aircraft on the tarmac. Incredibly, everyone on the jet survived, but several people were killed on the other aircraft, a Coast Guard plane on a mission to deliver aid to another tragedy, the earthquake on Japan's west coast. Lindsay Duncombe shows us the chaotic moments from inside that passenger plane and why quick thinking likely saved lives.
At first, panic. 379 passengers and crew jolted when their Japan Airlines jet collided with the smaller plane on the tarmac as it landed. Flames fed by wind and jet fuel ravaged the aircraft.
We heard that big bang, and I turned and I saw that flame that was making a trace, and then we saw the plane that was inflamed.
Panic, though, gave way to action. Everyone on board escaped within minutes.
And this crew is amazing that they got everybody out of there so quickly by just channeling them through the aisles. They were conscious, they were ready for any kind of accident.
I can only say it was a miracle, says this passenger. We could have died. 5 people on board the smaller plane were killed, members of the Coast Guard on their way to deliver aid to earthquake victims. The only survivor, the pilot, was injured. The busy airport was closed for hours after the crash.
I was shocked. I mean, these kinds of accidents aren't supposed to occur, especially in a place like Haneda.
Tragedies compounding as the scope of the damage from Monday's earthquake becomes increasingly clear. Roads to the hardest hit area, a city of 27,000, cut off. Crews work to find and rescue people who may be trapped. This earthquake is Japan's strongest since 2011, when a tsunami triggered a nuclear meltdown. This time, the power plants are secure. Some comfort, at least for those out of their homes, bracing for what could come next. People at this shelter aren't sleeping, though. It's because people have trauma, the operator explains. Even if it shakes a little, they become very anxious. Aftershocks are expected and could last for weeks, even months, prompting fear of yet more tragedy for people already dealing with so much loss. Lindsay Duncombe, CBC News, Vancouver.
Turning now to the war in the Middle East. Israel is being blamed for an apparent drone strike that killed a senior Hamas leader. But that strike happened far from the war zone in Gaza. Hamas says its top deputy was killed in an explosion deep inside Lebanon in Beirut. Israel has not commented. Paul Hunter now with the fear and concern over what could happen next.
The strike was, without a doubt, precise and effective. A residential building in Beirut, far from Lebanon's border with Israel. Inside, the second highest ranking political leader of Hamas, who helped create the Hamas military wing, killed, along with others, in an attack that threatens to now turn Israel's war with Hamas in faraway Gaza into a significantly wider conflict. When asked about the strike, Israeli military spokesman Daniel Hagari said only this: I will not respond to reports from Lebanon. But Hamas pointedly blames Israel and is enraged by the attack. It is a full-blown terrorist attack, said Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh, adding, it's an expansion of Israel's aggression against Palestinians. as Palestinians in the West Bank quickly filled the streets with renewed fury. An immediate concern is that the strike will trigger a forceful response against Israel by Hezbollah, the militant group in Lebanon, which, like Hamas, is linked to Iran.
Obviously, the developments are extremely worrying. We are calling for maximum restraint from all parties. We don't want any rash actions that could trigger further violence.
This as the war in Gaza approaches the 3-month mark, sparked by the brutal Hamas attacks on Israel October 7th that left 1,200 Israelis dead, 240 kidnapped, leading to Israel's response, which, as estimated by Hamas-controlled health authorities, has killed more than 22,000 Palestinians and displaced nearly 2 million, with food, water, medicine, power, shelter, and security still in desperate need everywhere.
And Paul, Israel is facing pressure to de-escalate what's been happening along its border with Lebanon. Where does this go now?
Unclear. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is reportedly headed to the Middle East again in less than a week, ostensibly to talk about de-escalating tensions along that border. It's a trip that was planned before this strike because of those worries the war in Gaza could spill over elsewhere. And what happened in Beirut certainly won't make those talks any simpler if they still go ahead. Likewise, by the way, and separately, there's already reporting the Beirut strike will hurt efforts toward the release of more hostages. Short answer to the question, this complicates all of that and more.
All right. Thank you, Paul Hunter in Washington tonight. Russia's bombardment continues in Ukraine, where the 2 largest cities came under attack by missiles today. And as Julia Wong tells us, it comes as Ukraine is pleading with Western allies to speed up the supply of crucial air defenses.
Devastating strikes on apartment buildings in Ukraine's capital. Crews raced to rescue those trapped after Ukraine's biggest cities were hit by Russian drones and missiles Tuesday, damaging residential buildings as well as a supermarket and warehouse.
It was so bright and so devastating. It felt like Armageddon.
An air raid siren woke up this Ukrainian member of parliament.
There is this huge pile of metal coming from the sky, and you have no way to stop it, of destroying the things you have built, you have planned, you have loved.
This comes days after Russia launched its biggest bombardment since the war began, according to Ukraine. Russia says Ukraine responded with its own attack on a border city. Ukraine's president said Russia will answer for every life taken. Russia's president has vowed to intensify strikes against Ukraine and says Russia wants to end the conflict, but only on its terms.
What's going on really at the moment is a battle of the stockpiles. Who's going to run out of either air defense missiles and ammunition first?
This security expert expects Ukraine to focus on building up that stockpile and regrouping this year.
Most importantly, train its formations to be able to operate at a greater level of complexity in terms of offensive operation, and then look to do something in a major way in 2025.
As political divisions in the U.S. and Europe threaten military support and aid for Ukraine, this message from those on the ground.
We are a shield to Europe, but only for so long that we receive the weapons and supplies. We cannot fight empty-handed.
Zelensky spoke Tuesday with the UK Prime Minister about air defense and long-range capabilities. The day before, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau promised Canada will keep working with allies to get Ukraine what it needs. Julia Wong, CBC News, London.
South Korea's opposition leader is recovering in hospital after being stabbed in the neck. He was attacked while touring a construction site with reporters. Police say the attacker approached the politician asking for an autograph and then lunged forward with a knife. He was arrested at the scene. After weeks of controversy, the president of Harvard University has resigned after just 6 months on the job. Claudine Gay was facing accusations of plagiarism and criticism for her testimony last month at a congressional hearing. She did not say unequivocally that calls for the genocide of Jews would violate Harvard's code of conduct. Gay was Harvard's first Black president. In a statement, she says she has been, quote, subjected to personal attacks and threats fueled by racial animus. She is the second Ivy League president to resign after the hearing. There are renewed safety warnings tonight surrounding electric-powered bikes after one caught fire on a Toronto subway car. As Caroline Bargout shows us, the bike's battery ignited, a danger that officials say is on the rise.
The chaotic moments after a subway car caught fire in Toronto. Officials believe it was caused by a lithium-ion battery in an e-bike.
It scared me a lot because I'm also driving with e-bike.
Abdullah Hale Naim makes his living riding around the city delivering food. Sometimes he has to take his bike on transit.
If it's so cold or if it's raining outside, so I can't go back home with my cycle, or sometimes my battery is like fully down, so there is no charge.
Last year, there were 55 fires related to lithium-ion batteries in Toronto, up from 29 in 2022. In June, 4 people died in New York in a fire at an e-bike store. And last week, a cargo ship caught fire near Alaska. It was shipping lithium-ion batteries from Vietnam to San Diego and burned for several days.
These batteries possess an incredible amount of stored energy as they sit there, and when they fail and they ignite, much of that battery is consumed in the process.
Toronto's fire chief says fires occur when people tamper with the original battery or use a refurbished one. It's also dangerous to use a cracked or damaged battery. New batteries can be expensive, but this e-bike delivery person says he isn't concerned.
I always follow the safety rules. I never drop my battery. If I have dropped one and it's cracked, I just replace it.
Experts say more talks are planned with Ottawa and industry stakeholders to come up with a strategy to deal with lithium-ion battery fires.
We're seeing a rise in battery fires. And the Canadian Fire Service, we have this much information on a problem that's this large.
There is no e-bike ban on the subway, but the Toronto Transit Commission says it's examining similar incidents across North America and Europe and will make a decision on how to proceed. Caroline Bargout, CBC News, Toronto.
Emergency rooms across Canada are still struggling tonight from a surge of illness and a shortage of staff. Lauren Pelly now with the critical message from doctors.
You're gonna sleep right after, huh? Of course you are.
While many Canadians relaxed over the holidays,
Not too much.
Joey Salmingo took his newborn to a crowded hospital with a fever.
It took an hour just to see a triage nurse.
Oh, I know. And it was 7 more hours until Salmingo's son was admitted to a bed.
So as the hours just went by, obviously the frustration, the anger is setting in.
Patients across the country keep facing those kinds of hours-long waits. In Quebec, provincial data shows dozens of hospital ERs are overflowing. And the average waiting time on a stretcher hit 18 hours by Tuesday afternoon.
This is the worst the healthcare system has been ever. You know, we're seeing patients in stretchers laying there for days on end.
This nurse in Montreal says long waits are tied to ongoing staff shortages and pressure from the usual respiratory viruses, plus COVID as well.
COVID is rampant throughout the hospitals, throughout every unit.
At St. Michael's Hospital in Toronto, upwards of 10% of patients on the wards are COVID positive.
It's often COVID intersecting with other illnesses and making people sick enough to end up in hospital.
He says most patients falling seriously ill with either COVID or influenza are also people who didn't get the latest vaccines. Federal data shows only 15% of the population got an updated COVID shot this fall.
Our vaccination rates across most populations and age groups, and in particular in children, are lower than we have seen in the past.
Doctors say there's still plenty of time to get those updated shots. COVID is still circulating, and the flu season in much of eastern Canada isn't expected to peak for several weeks. That means a busy winter ahead, and the more Canadians who can stay out of hospital, the better. Lauren Pelly, CBC News, Toronto.
The fitness industry says the healthcare system suffers when Canadians are out of shape. And now they're calling for a national tax credit to offset the cost of gym memberships. But as Renee Filipponi explains, it may not help those who need it most.
At Orange Theory Fitness in Edmonton, it's all about motivation.
Get those feet moving.
The fitness industry, hit hard by the pandemic, is still recovering, and now inflation is weighing on it too.
But at the end of the day, it's costing them dollars, and if they, if they're thinking that they don't have the dollars to put food on their table, it's one of the things that does unfortunately have to go. And so it's the #1 reason that we have people quitting today.
Yeah.
The fitness industry is calling on the federal government to include gym memberships as a medical expense on their taxes to make it more affordable.
Any incentive is an incentive to get people started.
They also point to research that working out improves health and can reduce the strain on the healthcare system.
We are in a healthcare crisis, and there's a 2023 report published in the Canadian Journal of Public Health that actually states that in Canada, due to sedentary behavior, we are losing $2.2 billion.
A tax credit is already offered in Newfoundland for things like swimming lessons and gym memberships, valued at $348 per family. Ottawa says it's committed to helping Canadians become more active, but when asked about a tax rebate, it pointed instead to its $10 million investment in programs like Participaction to increase daily physical activity.
On some level, does this line the pockets of big corporations?
This SFU researcher says a tax credit won't necessarily help low-income Canadians who often struggle to find time for the gym or can't pay the costs up front.
If we think about, beyond the scope of, let's say, low-income Canadians, we're also thinking about, well, how do we ensure that the people that are going to the gym are actually getting the long-term benefits of this? How do we track that?
For these gym regulars struggling with the soaring cost of living, any break is welcome.
This is going to be so much less money for the fitness I spend, and so much more money I can put into groceries and household spending.
Work for that distance. Helping to pick up the fitness pace this year. Renee Filipponi, CBC News, Vancouver.
Just 2 days into the new year, many CEOs have already earned more than the average Canadian does in a year.
When revenue and profit goes through the roof due to inflation, bonuses go through the roof.
The reason behind their record income and how one business is trying to drive change.
Move the lowest salary up as well.
The harm being done by mining marble.
It's not just the dust, but we have oil inside.
The fight to limit production and why some are pushing back. Plus, the race to the White House is heating up and the stakes couldn't be higher.
The 2024 presidential election is expected to be one of the most consequential of a generation. For real.
Paul Hunter breaks down the storylines you need to watch for. We're back in 2.
And now Stanford shot scored!
Heartbreak for Canadians at the World Juniors in Sweden. They were eliminated in the quarterfinal after the Czech Republic scored the winning goal with just 11 seconds left. Canada had won back-to-back gold medals heading into this year's championship. New numbers out tonight show Canada's top-paid CEOs have already earned more than the average Canadian salary. If you include Monday as a paid holiday, by 9:30 this morning, they've made roughly $60,000. Philippe de Montigny now with the widening pay gap and what drove another record-breaking year for those CEOs.
Canada's top CEOs made more than ever before in 2022, a year of sky-high inflation.
CEOs are paid primarily through bonuses, and those bonuses are based on things like revenue and profits. And they are being remunerated as if every dollar of these inflation-driven profits are their doing.
A new report from the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives found that the 100 highest-paid CEOs raked in nearly $15 million on average that year, about 246 times what the average worker made.
It's absolutely enraging.
Canada's largest private sector union says this growing pay gap and the rising cost of living has been pushing workers to demand higher wages.
you have seen workers rising up against that. This is why we're having more disputes in Canada, is why there is more conflict at collective bargaining tables, because workers have said enough is enough.
The higher the risk, the higher the compensation.
Asni Zawali is the CEO of Connected Labs, a tech startup in Toronto that designs virtual campuses for universities and large organizations. He says top executives shoulder a lot of risk.
Their role is to ensure the financial and operational viability of the company. If they do that, they get compensated accordingly. If they don't do that, they get fired.
But his company has a policy to limit the wage gap.
The highest salary is never 10 times higher than the lowest salary. There's no cap on the highest salary, as long as you move the lowest salary up as well.
To address the pay gap, the Canadian Centre for Policy Alternatives suggests introducing a wealth tax and adding new income brackets at the top that would be taxed more heavily. Philippe de Monsigny, CBC News, Toronto.
An Italian town with an historic mining tradition is facing calls to cut back.
We made the marble for Michelangelo. We don't want to end up in this way.
Why there's a push to shift away from marble. Plus, the evolving focal points of an approaching U.S. election.
We just have one more fellow we got to catch up to.
Paul Hunter on what to watch for. And bringing together the two sides of Canada's housing crisis.
I'm looking for another rental unit, which I guarantee will be $500 to $1,000 more.
You could say the same thing for housing as an owner, right? The costs have more than doubled.
The National breaks down the stories shaping our world next. Air Canada has found itself at the bottom of a 2023 ranking for North American airlines. The new list put out by an aviation analytics firm focused on how often flights were landing on time. Air Canada only landed 63% of its flights according to schedule. The company says it is working to improve its performance. Next, we want to take you to the Tuscan Hills, where the world's most popular marble has been sourced for more than 2,000 years. But as Megan Williams shows us now, behind the shiny white stone is a darker story and a local struggle.
The Apuan Alps of Tuscany, with what looks like snow, but is actually the world's largest marble mining district, Carrara. In ancient Rome, enslaved people toiled, cutting and hauling the stone used for imperial monuments and statues. Marble prized in the Renaissance by Michelangelo, who, from a massive block, sculpted his masterpiece David. To this day, artists are still drawn to Carrara, where the marble is extracted from quarries like this one, owned by Franco Barattini, who began working here at 12, sleeping in a shack perched above the quarry. He's now the owner, exporting marble to the Vatican and Princess of Thailand, billionaires in China and Saudi Arabia, and producing the byproduct, calcium carbonate, ground from this debris into a whitening agent used for cleaning products, paint, even toothpaste, creating a dust that floats up into the Apuan Alps above.
From this dust, we have a kind of pollution we call marmettola, that is not just the dust, but we have oil inside and part of metals inside.
Nature guide Matteo Palazzi says the dust is choking rare cave species and polluting the aquifer in this UNESCO Global Geopark, designated for its geological heritage. Local activist Eros Teti has mobilized to limit extraction of the 80 or so quarries inside the park.
The really precious marble of the Apuan Alps is little nowadays. That's why they base their economy mainly on the carbonate calcium. It's the only way they have to keep open many quarries.
He wants an approved plan to develop a local economy based on sustainable tourism implemented. But opposition has been fierce. Franco Barattini says the economy here is marble. Look around, he says, there's nothing else. But Tetti and others say they'll keep fighting what they call destructive extraction.
We made the marble for Michelangelo for some of the most beautiful statues in the world, and we don't want to end up in this way.
But instead, he says, with a park and economy for future generations. Megan Williams, CBC News, Carrara.
Now let's break down the news shaping our world, starting with what will likely be one of the biggest stories of 2024, the U.S. presidential election. The lead up to the vote in November could be chaotic and complicated. Will it really be another case of Biden versus Trump? Paul Hunter breaks down 4 factors to watch for in the months ahead.
Ever get the feeling that anytime a reporter stands right here to talk about Americans going to the polls, they always say something like, it's expected to be one of the most consequential elections of a generation. And they've been saying that a lot lately. So forgive me, because the 2024 presidential election is expected to be one of the most consequential of a generation. For real. Donald Trump has already said, if elected, he'll seek vengeance on those he sees as his enemies. Think about that. So, what to watch for in the weeks and months ahead? How about 4 things? Number 1, as ever, the economy. You know, when you think about it, Joe Biden's had a pretty decent first term on that front. It's created jobs, built bridges, fixed roads, boosted clean energy, and more. He calls it Bidenomics. And you'd think it's the stuff of a slam dunk re-election campaign. But is it? According to a recent poll, more than half the country thinks Biden is failing on the economy. Why? In part, inflation. Yes, it's down since last year, but every voter in the country still feels the pinch because prices are up. Groceries cost more than they used to, and a lot of big ticket things like cars and healthcare, for example, not to mention mortgage rates. Fact is, voters almost always tend to blame whoever's in charge on such stuff, and in this case, that's Joe Biden. Every month, the U.S. releases the latest data on the inflation rate. If that doesn't keep dropping, and if prices don't follow, that's bad news for Joe Biden. Number 2, age and enthusiasm.
I expect so, but look, he is running, and I have to run.
Look, there's no denying it. Joe Biden is old. At 81, he's the oldest U.S. president ever. Here he is 3 years ago.
I've always believed we can define America in one word: possibilities.
Here he is now.
Now, we need to evolve our institutions and drive creative new partnerships.
Voters have noticed. Another poll says 3/4 of Americans think he's too old to be president. And even though Donald Trump is almost as old, it somehow seems less of an issue with him.
Biden's not too old. That's not his problem. He's too incompetent.
So watch what that means for voter enthusiasm when it comes to Joe Biden. Does he excite people? Does he motivate them to get out and vote? Or is he relying on people getting out to vote against Donald Trump? That's risky. So keep an eye on the first primary that really matters to Joe Biden, South Carolina, next month.
Thank you, South Carolina!
It's the state where Biden's campaign took off in 2020, and it's the place he's counting on to kickstart 2024. A tepid South Carolina would be a worrying signal for Joe Biden. Number 3, Nikki Haley. Yes, Donald Trump is still far and away the front runner for the Republicans, but if there's one Republican who some think might have a chance to turn him back, it's the former governor of South Carolina.
We just have one more fellow we got to catch up to.
The big test for Nikki Haley is the primary in her home state late next month. If she somehow beats him there, who knows?
So how do I win, right? That's the question.
But if Trump wins big in her home state, or maybe if he even comes close, goes the thinking, she's done, Trump's in. So watch that one carefully.
They've been talking about the Haley surge. So she goes up 2 points, I go up, I think 10 points.
Number 4, Donald Trump. His legal troubles are well known. He's got multiple court dates coming up, but watch for one in particular, March 4th. That's the first day of his federal criminal trial here in Washington for trying to overturn the 2020 election. It happens to also be the day before the biggest day of the primary season, Super Tuesday. So if, let's say, Trump begins a big criminal trial on a Monday, and if on the very next day he still wins millions of votes in multiple states, well, then all bets are off on everything the rest of the way to Election Day, November 7th. To be clear, there are a lot of ifs in all of this. But here's one certainty. As Joe Biden readies for whoever his opponent will be, the time before the election is now short. These next few months will go by quickly. So there you have it. 4 things to watch for in U.S. politics this year. Easy, huh? So straightforward. If only.
As Paul noted, time is moving quickly. We are less than 2 weeks away from the first caucuses in Iowa. Donald Trump remains far and away the favorite for Republicans in that state, while the Democrats' Joe Biden is effectively unchallenged. Up next, the search for solutions to Canada's housing crisis.
You could be building another story on top of it, and it could be all affordable housing.
Why renters and landlords are both feeling the pressure. Canada's housing crisis seems bound to dominate political debate in the year ahead. So we're bringing back a conversation that Adrian led with some of the key stakeholders, landlords and tenants. Their viewpoints and concerns are just as relevant now, if not more so.
Nicole, this is your house, so thank you for letting us be here. What's your situation?
So pre-COVID pandemic, I had sold my home and went into the rental market. My goal was to be in the rental market for 2 years and then purchase a home. Price of homes skyrocketed, and unfortunately, the landlords of this place wanted to seize that opportunity.
To sell this place?
To sell this house, which put me in a predicament. I'm looking for another rental unit, which I guarantee will be $500 to $1,000 more than what I'm paying today.
You got in that trap, and I don't think you're alone in that, of not being able to get back into the market, and now kind of afraid you're going to lose your rental home. Mike, you're also a renter who's also trying to hang on to his place, right?
Yeah, about 2 years ago, my building was thrusted into a project where another building was to be put up in the parking lot, and that process has just seemed to, been bulldozed through every tenant with no care of the living standards. There's excessive noise, like between 6 a.m. and 7 p.m. Monday to Saturday, and holidays even, like holiday Mondays. The response back from the management company, and their words in the letter is, take us to court. If you don't like it, take me to court.
So you feel like you're being pushed out?
Yeah, 100%. My rent's very affordable there. Yeah. I think that's part of the push. It looks as if they want me and any of the previous tenants, they want us out. My rent now, if I was to leave, would be more than double to the new tenant moving in.
Oh, really?
I'm paying $1,580. It's on their website. It's $32.95 for my unit.
Yes. So that feels out of reach.
Yeah.
Toshek, you're a homeowner, but things are not great.
I have one property that I have rented out, and what happens is this year I got a tenant that moved in and started to not pay rent, and that has been going on for months. It's just becoming difficult and more difficult as every month goes by, and there is no end to it. I am tapping into different sources of financing this situation, which is literally high interest rate line of credits and HELOCs and whatever I can do, and try to survive.
So are you considering selling?
Who will buy a property with a tenant who's not moving out.
Okay,
right?
so what is your situation? It's different, right?
Yeah, so I am more than a regular mom and pop landlord. I have several buildings. I've been a landlord for almost 2 decades now and have several properties. Again, they're all leveraged. It's a bit scary because I have my strategy, my whole net worth really is in real estate, and it's about leveraging itself to buy more properties to be able to, build more, right? So the thing that's really hurting me right now is the interest rates.
And are your properties market-based prices or rent control? What's happening?
Most of them are rent controlled, and I'm not against rent control. Obviously, as a landlord, I prefer not to have rent control, and I have the right to be able to raise the rent if I needed to, but I don't raise rents personally.
You don't raise the rents?
I do the small nominal increases, which is for 2023 is 2.5%, which is very minor.
But it's not small if it's your rent and everything else is going up.
But at the same time, my mortgage is going up, my taxes are going up. I just got my municipal tax bill or assessment, and that just went up by 26%. Not to mention maintenance fees or maintenance costs, taxes, et cetera, et cetera. Everything just keeps going up.
So, I mean, I have a lot of questions about that. Listening in here, obviously, is Armenia Alnesian. Where would you rate housing in terms of urgency right now in this country?
I would say it is approaching a national disaster. We've been kind of inflation obsessed this year around the world. What started off as a supply issue has continued to be a supply issue, and nowhere is that more poignant than in the housing market in Canada, where we just are not building enough. Insufficient supply means rising costs, rising rents, rising mortgage costs, rising interest rates. We just are not building enough to make sure that if you need to leave where you're living, there is a place for you to move to. There's just nothing cheaper out there.
Well, to that point, I was thinking about you, Mike, this notion of feeling pushed out. I mean, what is somebody supposed to do if your rental unit, you just get the feeling they're trying to get you out?
In my situation, I push back right up to that line because it's my life. This is my kids' life. Both kids are in high school. A couple years left for them, and I don't want to uproot them. We have to live in this constant just disarray.
Do you have any advice for Mike? I mean, as a landlord?
Yeah, well, I mean, there are cheaper parts of the country to live in, and I know it's not easy to move. But to address the comment earlier where you said that your rent has pretty much doubled over the past...
No, so not my rent.
Most people have.
Right?
Sorry, the current rent versus...
Tenant.
You could say the same thing for housing as an owner, right? The costs have more than doubled in the past, 10 years, right? I say with rent controls, it's the same thing though, right? Because if you look at what inflation is, 6%, 7%, 8%, but yet our increase is only 2.5%, and it's been like this for decades.
To your point, Ken, people can move. Yeah, people can move, but people live in communities. And what do you do, especially if you're raising a family? What we're seeing, and this has been going on for a few years now, is fewer owners, more renters across Canada. But the actual carrying costs for a renter, you can double rents right now because where are you going to move to? There isn't anything out there. There isn't any supply.
And so where is the supply going to now? I mean, you drive up to your neighborhood here, there's construction everywhere. There are new buildings constantly.
It depends on who buys them, right? We have two people sitting at this table here who bought housing to be able to have an income stream, who are small players. But the really important thing that we need to think about is that from 2016 to 2021, we lost 370,000 affordable rental units across the country.
Where'd they go?
They just became more expensive. 20 years ago, you would have been able to move and find something comparable in your price point in your neighborhood.
Yes, exactly.
Doesn't exist anymore.
So if you're a landlord, though, or a developer, what's your incentive to build affordable housing?
Well, there isn't one. No landlord that is going to be able to build more affordable housing as interest rates rise.
So let's look at the future here. What do you need, and what do you see coming?
I mean, definitely I still teeter-totter between the purchasing and the renting. It's great if the housing market comes back to, a detached home for $600K, no problem. I can put that down payment in and I'm moving in. So at this point, what's comforting for me and what I know I can handle is the rental market. The only fear is the landlord coming to me and saying, I'm ready to sell again.
To get the house down to where you want it to be, the economy is going to have to be destroyed. It's a question I have to ask. Is the small landlord paying for the tenant to stay there forever, perpetually? right? At what,
Great question.
Right, because it's, as a landlord, why can't I sell when I want to? Right?
You can, and it isn't your job to make affordable housing reality.
That's right.
It is not, you know, you're doing nothing illegal. It's a completely legitimate business venture. Where we are falling down is public policy.
Well, you have the multi-billion-dollar, developers that are just swooping in. Like you said, they'll purchase whatever it is that they want to purchase, whether it be a single home or full plots of land to build, high rises. Why aren't we looking for them for the help?
Well, there is. So there's inclusionary zoning that's happening in our city, in Toronto, that is. I don't know about the rest of the other provinces as well, too, but you have to dedicate a certain portion to affordable housing. But guess who's paying for that? It's the end purchasers.
The big story is we don't have enough supply. You can't just build condos for rich people, right? That was the point.
But
we missed that boat. We've missed that boat in the last 20 years.
The developer won't build if there's no profit.
What is the best idea you have heard or seen around the world for helping out with housing?
The zoning issues are huge because you can take the stock of housing you've got and actually put it, do double duty with it.
That means like laneway homes in Toronto, for example.
For example, you've talked about inclusionary zoning,
right.
but there's also rezoning so that we can densify. I mean, just coming to this place, so much of this area out here is 1 story tall.
Right.
Right? You could be building another story on top of it and it could be all affordable housing.
And I completely appreciate the discussion around what can be done in a bit of a future sort of a planning perspective, but what can be done today for those who are bleeding today? Because I can't survive 15 years waiting for this to be resolved. And so LTV needs to deliver what they're supposed to do, an efficient system in place to deal with issues when they arise. Because what happens ultimately as a small landlord, either I start to consider getting out of the market or start to consider hold on to not renting it.
Right. So there's no satisfaction with the landlord-tenant bureau at either end, landlord or tenant.
No, it seems like COVID has created an excuse to take a step back. And
you, Mike, what do you need and what do you see coming?
my future looks like my kids will finish high school and then we'll leave the city.
You'll just get out.
Yeah, we'll look to purchase, but it'll be outside of the city. It'll be, an hour, 2 hours away.
If you want to look at the future, you look at other major cities, Hong Kong, San Fran, et cetera, London, Paris. It's a renter nation. I'm not saying that's that everybody has to come to terms with that. It's just what it is, right? It's wealth passed down through generations, and it's just a fundamental issue with capitalist society.
We can't solve that here, but this is a good start. So Ken, Tojek, Nicole, Mike, and Armin, thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much.
A year later, and Mike Reed, the tenant we just heard from, said he is still battling property owners over rent increases. We will continue to follow the housing crisis in Canada in the new year. Coming up, Canadians from coast to coast take an icy plunge. The dip aimed at washing away 2023. Next in our moment. Thousands of Canadians lined up at the water's edge yesterday, preparing to dive into 2024 with a polar bear dip. It's a New Year's tradition that stretches back more than a century, and tonight, the collective plunge across the country is our moment.
It's basically just a cold plunge, and so on the count of 3, we all ran into the ocean, plunged, some further than others.
Good thing it didn't rain. Happy New Year!
First time?
No, 46 times. Yeah.
Everybody's here to have a really good time and get in that water and have a crazy moment in their year.
46 years. If an old guy like me can do it, anybody can do it.
It's freaking cold. It's really cold. Yes, there's like little pins and needles all over your body. You can't feel a thing, but yeah, it's a good rush. Yeah, it's a good rush. Yeah, for sure.
Chaos, fun, and the best way to start the new year possible.
Don't think about it, go for it, and the best is yet to come. So
Let's go again.
let's go again. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
I get cold just watching that. Now, apparently here in Vancouver, that tradition began back in 1920 by a fellow of the name Peter Pantages, who had immigrated here from Greece and loved to go swimming in the water every day, and thus the tradition was born. I tried the polar bear dip once. And that is the National for this evening. You can catch us anywhere, anytime on the free CBC News app, or you can subscribe to the National's YouTube channel. I'm Erica Johnson. Thank you for joining us.